Welcome back to our channel. Welcome back to FXstrategies.asia. Today, from two special locations, actually. Well, that means four, but myself, I'm, as you can see here, in front of the nice skyline in Singapore, banking district, the Marina Bay Sands Hotel behind me. And Merkel is currently in China, checking out what his business is doing and what the company actually does. But furthermore, Merkel has an eye at and on markets for us in China. As he obviously said long time ago, guys, China, undervalued. Merkel, what's your insights? What's your news from China being in the country at the moment? What do you think?
From China itself. Well, China is always impressive to be here. I'm always happy that when I come back to China. China is super infrastructure, super developed country. So, it's amazing to see that development. And I strictly believe, as I already mentioned several times, that also the economic will come back to old strongness. And I'm very confident for the future of China.
That's for sure. We've been talking about investing as well and how to invest in markets and what might be. So guys, listen and check out our previous videos Merkel and me recorded. What do you think about the current tariff situation? We heard that Xi Jinping stated today, no Boeings anymore procured from the US. What's your situation in regards to tariffs and the Chinese answer?
Yeah, this is a current, this is the topic of the world. Everybody talk about it. So, but in my opinion, it's just, it's still, for me, I can't believe that it lasts long time to solve this problem. So I guess this is a thing of weeks, maybe for months, but not for long term. I believe we will see solutions in that case. I will see that they talk each other, and then I hope they find solutions, and then that we come back to a normal market situation also, even in China, as in US and all over the world.
As we know the Chinese, they're probably not about to give in, right? So what do you think? Xi Jinping, he will kind of push further to the limit, or what's the situation from a Chinese point of view?
I don't think so. I not think that China is interested to get in a trade war here or something like that. I think China is interested to find a suitable solution. So, and it's not easy because the other side is, quite crazy on the way. But I think they will find a way, even with Donald Trump or his team. No problem. I guess so. Because China looks, they are very cool and they know about their strongness. And so they react very well at the moment, I think.
Yeah.
With the situation.
Fairly recently, Donald Trump stated after our call, hey guys, we delay tariffs by another 90 days for the world, ex-China. So is that something, looking at maybe Vietnam, Nike, huge factory in Vietnam, Thailand, we got huge IT infrastructure, we have a good big car industry, Japanese cars are being manufactured or assembled in Thailand, for example. How do you see the situation maybe looking outside of China at the moment? Because the delay in tariffs, does it mean, well, the Americans will give in for a while?
Yeah, this could be because both parties, like China and America, try now to find partners. I heard about that America offer countries that if they block China, they get better tariffs and something like that. And even I heard Xi Jinping was in Vietnam now or in Malaysia and visited some countries, do the same way in the other side. So I think, yes, this could be that these countries are finally the winners of this small trade war, that Vietnam, Malaysia or something have very good conditions with both sides and do very good business in the future. This could be. There could be that we see or that we get chances in this kind of markets. This I believe, yes.
Yeah.
But this means not that China will see a drawdown or US. I think this is only a temporary thing. Then everything finds its balance.
We've seen the Chinese stock market recently kind of coming back down slightly, right? We saw a bit of an uplift again, but now it seems like in the recent couple of trading days, maybe the markets are coming lower a bit. What's the hottest pick of the day? If you would say you would need to pick one asset or one stock, which one would you say like that's the one I think is nicely priced?
At first, I think the Hang Seng is still the best option, and if you choose a single position of the Hang Seng, okay, this is then up what you are. This I was not sure. I mean, my favorite stock, everybody knows, is Tencent. everybody knows this is my favorite company, but that has nothing to do that I would choose. I have this in my portfolio, but also finance like Ping An. I would choose maybe companies if I go for single positions. Okay, ETF on the Hang Seng is never wrong at the moment. I think they really see a bright future for the whole index. But if I must choose companies out of the Hang Seng, I would really go for companies which have not too many business outside of China, which are doing a big part of their business in China. You know? For example, Tencent, for example, Alibaba, for example, they are really two big parts of their business still local in the Chinese market. And I'm very sure the Chinese people will support their companies in the future.
Just behind me in the banking district here in Singapore, I've been with a good friend to BYD, but not to the car dealer BYD, to the car company BYD. They have invested in four or five breweries. They bought over the brewery and they subsidize prices, and you can get like really good bargains. You get craft beer here in Singapore, and BYD goes the opposite, the different mile or the different way in terms of marketing. They obviously kind of make you buying drinks or food over the phone, and then you need to put your data in. You see the latest car brands or the car updates and the latest prices for BYD cars. Something we might say Tesla is not really doing, while Tesla in the US has been struggling. $230, $240 currently. Prices came down a fair bit. So I see that Singapore as well is slightly changing differently at the moment when I'm here. Do you see any funky, fancy marketing in China where you would say, hey, that's a different idea? Is there any company you might think of which is going the extra mile to get customers' attention?
For example, Xiaomi. Xiaomi is very, very popular in the young generation in China. Even the mobile phones, same as the cars, and also the other products, household products, what they have, and vacuum cleaners or whatever. What they produce, this is all very fancy and the people like it. If you look to the Xiaomi shops in China, they are quite full of people. So Xiaomi is a good tip for the future, I guess. Yeah, it's a good idea.
True. And we talked about the stock equities from Xiaomi. Actually, they've started to get back to the upside as well. Some hot pick, according at least to Merkel and myself as well. I think there's some opportunities in the near future. Back to the US, Merkel. Recent couple of trading days, yesterday, today, I saw that US S&P 500 struggling a little bit. The NASDAQ struggling a little bit. Today, the DAX was again starting to rise. Again, your forecast was America overpriced at the moment. Europe has room. Europe X the DAX, because you're not really interested much in the German economy in general. But let's start first with the US. How do you see now the situation? Because you said we have the markets coming down and they're moving up, but keep your powder dry to maybe buy again.
Right. Yeah, it happened exactly what I expected, but I expected, of course, not so quick, the drawdown, what we saw 2 weeks ago or 1 week ago. But yes, in the end, it is exactly the result there, what I expected, that we see a drawdown, especially in the Magnificent Seven. They were overpriced, and they are still overpriced, in my opinion. So I see further potentials for downside. So I would say 4,800 in the S&P was a good mark to go in, but not with the full, not all in for sure, because I guess there will be potential for more downside. Maybe we see the 4.5, maybe at least the 3.8. This is my personal target, my final target, 3,800. I also don't know if we see that. I have I cannot see the future, but I believe there come better chances still. So keep some powder dry, as you say, for the US market. The European market,
Oil prices are recovering a little bit, so our subscribers at FX Strategies Asia, they've gone into long positions. Oil market looking kind of quite nicely short term. The Australian dollar, that's still one barometer we can see. The Australian dollar is at a peak below 64 to the US dollar. The Aussie US dollar currency pair might be struggling, right? So Merkel, my take would be, as a currency guy, if the Aussie US dollar currency pair can trade beyond the 64 area, we also might see upside in the S&P 500. But what do you see? Like, how much powder should one have still in hand? You mentioned 4,800. What's the next level of engagement for you if the market comes lower?
The next level which I would buy rebuy something would be by 4,600 roughly. And the last step is on the way to 3,800 downward. This would be my personal target for buying. But this is everybody depends on, because if you have 100% cash, I would now buy already for 50% because nobody knows. Otherwise, you come never in the market, You can waiting forever. So nobody knows where the market will really run. So I would say it's up how much cash you have. In case you have 20%, I would say 4,800 is a good for 30%, then 4,500, maybe another 30, and the rest, if we are totally run down, for 3,800 or something. So I would go in 3 parts in it. Yeah. So, but it depends on everybody itself how much cash he has, of course. But I would recommend keep some powder dry, because in my personal opinion, we saw not the deepest dips yet.
The more cash, the merrier, obviously. That's always a good idea to have more to be able to invest again. Jerome Powell, recent comments last night. What do you think? Is Jerome Powell maybe getting a bit more under pressure in cutting rates even more this year?
Yeah, he was quite aggressive, let's say. Totally unusual for him. I saw this interview yesterday. So yeah, he is a little bit, and he made very clear that it's not depending on the Fed right now. At the moment, it's a political market. So the political must set up the science first, and then the Fed can follow up. I also believe we see some rate cuts, but not yet. If the economic went down, then we see that. But currently, for the next Fed meetings, I think not. Maybe June, maybe July will come, because the economic will decrease, and so he has to do some actions, and he will.
Because some obviously worry, right? So Trump is going to crash the global economy. Everything is going down. But we still have that big bazooka, which basically Jerome Powell could kind of fire up again and kind of really restart in order to kind of flush markets with fresh liquidity, right? So like seemingly crashing the world economy at the current situation. And then furthermore, Merkel, recession. How is your outlook at the moment? Because you've been always like, I don't see a recession yet.
Yeah. We do not see it in the employment market. We don't see any signs of recession yet. Inflation, yeah, a little bit. Maybe it will raise a bit. Yeah, but we don't know. We are still 50-50 prepared. I think if 50-50, in case we see the recession, we see the 3,800. If we don't see the recession, maybe 4,800 or 4,600, whatever, we find the bottom. So this is my opinion of the current situation. But 50-50, I'm not sure if we see a recession or not. I'm still not sure. We have not enough data to say, yes, it will come or it will not come. So nobody knows.
Yeah. And obviously during the current times when liquidity would get cheaper again, or we would face like times of interest rate cuts, it would help equity markets, right? We received, especially Merkel received quite a few comments. Hey guys, what should I do? I'm sweating a bit. My portfolio is going down. But obviously Merkel, as you always said, like this is the time to start making money. Invest when the markets go down and don't sell anything when the markets go down. Instead, kind of reload the boat and just really keep it in your portfolio long term. Maybe you might repeat any basic strategies. If somebody would like to start investing right now, what's your catch at the moment? What would be the nicest and easiest way to get access to financial markets?
Yeah, it's a little bit depends on your age and your income. But in case I would be young and would have a good job, so I would invest now step by step in ETFs. If I'm not too familiar with that, if I don't want to spend too much time to go in the details of the market, so I would go for ETF, maybe, let's say, MSCI World or Vanguard, FTSE All World, or like that, and maybe some factor ETFs, like China, Russell 2000, whatever. But I would not, I would frequently invest, start maybe monthly pay in. Maybe you have a small amount you put in the beginning, now in when the market is a little bit down. So it's always a good idea. So, and then frequently invest your whole life until you retire and live from this money later. That's just and have patience, and go on and on. Not important what happened. If the market raise up or down, not important. just go on to invest. That's all. That's what I can recommend for every young guy in the world.
Yeah, I think very well summarized. And Mirko, thanks again for your time, for our call right now. Guys, just the recent most latest video Mirko and me did, you can find under this link. And on Saturday, I'm going to meet up with a real VIP. Today we had Mirko as the #1 VIP here in our group. On Saturday, I'm going to meet up with Jim Rogers, the one and only Jim Rogers, talking about financial markets, in particular precious metals here in Singapore. So I'm looking forward, guys, for you to stay tuned, obviously, kind of really make sure that your comments are below the video, and don't forget to subscribe. Mirko, thanks a lot for your time. Have a good time in China, and keep us posted. We'll chat again back with you next week. See you then. Take care.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.